Hey, what's going on, peeps? Since I'll be playing Revelations 2, I wanted to give you guys a background on the first one so that we're all on the same page here. I'm actually not sure whether there's a sequel, since the game seemed pretty self-containing and it closed pretty well, I thought. If anything, it'll be to wrap up some of the characters, and I'll probably give us more information on Tricell from Resident Evil 5, since they do touch a little bit on it by the end of the game. The main focal point story-wise from the first one was the calamity that struck the floating city of Terragrigia, also known as the Terragrigia Panic. You see, a city was built in the ocean, a massive undertaking taking 11 years to finish. The whole point being creating a city that could sustain itself solely on solar power. The city was, however, the stage for a massive terrorist attack orchestrated by a group known as Il Veltro, who was against the development of solar panels. The terrorists unleashed a bunch of hunters on the city alongside a virus formula on the airspace, effectively killing most of its population. The FBC, the Federal Bioterrorism Commission, was sent to clear the city of the virus, but ultimately failed, and the city was cleansed using this incredibly epic satellite that worked as some form of massive dish to relay the sun rays directly into the city, pretty much focusing the intensity of the sun into one spot, breaking down the foundations of the city and destroying it. At this point, I wanted to point out the difference between the FBC and the BSAA. The FBC is a United States-controlled organization meant to be their personal defense against bioterrorism, while the BSAA, which is the organization that you see in Resident Evil 5 and 6 with Chris and stuff, is more akin to an alliance between the US and the United Nations to combat bioterrorism anywhere, so they're situated pretty much like anywhere around the globe. Anyway, so that happened, the city was destroyed, and allegedly the terrorist organization was disposed of. Now, flash forward about a year, which is when the actual game takes place. Chris and his partner Jessica are missing, so Jill and her partner Parker are sent to investigate their lost coordinates in hope of finding them. This leads them to the middle of the Mediterranean Sea to a cruise ship called the Queen Zenobia. Now, when Jill and Parker get in on the boat, it turned out to be an elaborate ruse and a trap, which ends with Jill and Parker getting captured and their weapons taken off of them. And this is where you start. Now, the game is very akin to old school Resident Evil, in the sense that you'll be playing in this tiny confined space where you go from room to room, hallway to hallway, fighting zombies in very small places. Fairly claustrophobic environments, awkward camera angles, and almost no ammunition, fighting to get keys, etc. It's also cool because it is very similar in style to the mansion, but instead of dining rooms and bedrooms, it's all cabins and dining halls. Instead of being stuck in a mansion with no way out, you're stuck in a ship with really no way out. The feels are very similar, which I loved. Now, the virus that you encounter here on the ship is, however, very different. Instead of fighting actual zombies, you're instead fighting a mutation from the T-virus. You see, a while back, scientists were researching how some fishes could survive the intense pressures while being so deep underwater, and they found a virus that all of these sea creatures possessed that gave them an extra ability to adapt to the water, and they dubbed this virus the Abyss virus. Apparently, black market scientists found a way to combine the Abyss virus with the T-virus to form the T-Abyss virus, pretty much giving the normal transformation to a zombie a more aquatic tone, which allowed them to survive underwater. This was crucial to the terrorist organization, since now they were able to threaten contamination of 1/5 of the world's waters with a zombie virus, which is pretty damn hardcore if you ask me. So now, instead of being zombies, they were dubbed oozes, named because of their bloated look, which is similar to that of a bag of liquid in the shape of a humanoid. These mutations, however, instead of feeding on the meat of their foes, suck on the blood of their prey to refill their fluids. You see, this cruise ship was in actuality a laboratory in disguise. It still did cruise travels and whatnot and took people in, but it had a massive lab hidden underneath which they did all the research on the T-Abyss virus, mostly trying to find a vaccine, which they did end up finding in the end, but the crew was still massacred anyways. By playing through the game and surviving the oozes and the monsters that lay on the ship, Jill and Parker discovered that the leader of the FBC, Morgan Lansdale, had actually been colluding with the terrorist Il Velcro. You see, he actually orchestrated the attack on Terragrigia so that he could show the world the threat of bioterrorism in hopes of having the government give the FBC more funding and a bigger crew. Morgan also had the scientists work on the vaccine here on the ship, but as soon as he was given the vaccine, he had the scientists killed on purpose by releasing all of the monsters inside of the ship. It was also discovered that the whole part about Chris being missing, and the fact that through the whole game you thought that the terrorist group was actually being revived again, was actually all part of the leader of the BSAA, Clive O'Brien's plan to find proof that Morgan was working with a terrorist a year ago. So yeah, there's a lot of what the fuck moments in there, not even mentioning the classical mole inside of the group, which turned turned out to be 2 moles instead. It's a thing, don't worry too much about it since it would just take too long to really explain. The important thing is that Raymond and Jessica were triple agents working for Tricell, so they had both the FBC and the BSAA fooled the whole time. This is important because they managed to save a vial of the T-Avis virus before it was all destroyed and cleansed by Chris and Jill, and they sent it to Tricell for unknown reasons. Whether we will see them in Revelations 2 or not remains to be seen, as they still haven't showed themselves in any of the other games in the future games, like Resident Evil 5 and 6. Anyways, like I said, Jill and Chris managed to destroy the cruise ship alongside all but one of the virus vials, pretty much saving the ocean from the possible outbreak. Their search led them to another cruise ship hidden below the water, where they found the proof they were looking for to apprehend Morgan, and all was good. And now this brings us into Revelations 2. Guys, I hope you all enjoyed this Let's Play because I'm pretty much looking forward to this. I have literally not seen any trailers or videos from it outside of the ones I used for the edit yesterday on my intro video for the month of March. I have not seen anything else of it, so all I'm hoping is that it keeps with the style of the old school Resident Evil like Revelations 1 did, but who knows, I guess we'll find out together. See y'all in a couple of hours.